Teach to no one.
Okay, I will
I'm
mute.
out of here. Um, we're gonna start a child's pose. So bring your knees nice and wide if that feels comfortable, or if you prefer having the legs together, totally fine. And then we'll walk the arms out and rest the forehead. Relax the arms, relax the shoulders. And then just starting to deepen your breath. Noticing how the breath feels moving in and out of the nose. And how it feels expanding the belly as you inhale and emptying completely of air as you exhale. I'm just taking a few more deep breaths here, settling in, noticing how you feel, arriving on your mat, setting aside everything else for this 30 minutes. One more round of breath here. And on the next inhale, gently lift the head just a little bit and walk the hands out to the left. And then rest the forehead back down to the mat. Reaching to the left, opening through the right side body, drawing both shoulders down toward the mat equally. And take some nice deep breaths in and out here. And on your next inhale, walk the hands back through center and then over to the right, stretching through the left side body, resting the forehead and finding that length through the left side. And a couple of deep breaths here. Finish the breath that you are on. And on your next inhale, we'll walk the hands back through center and come up a little bit here through the torso. Bring the knees together, or more or less a little closer together. Then we're going to lift up onto the knees. And then we'll go ahead and walk the hands right back out into our puppy pose. So resting the forehead back down to the mat if you like. We're just drawing the torso, the chest toward the mat as we open through the shoulders and open through the upper back. And just go gently. It's a big stretch for the shoulders, especially if it's first thing. So be gentle. Stop where you need to. I'm finding sensation here, but not pain, not strain. And continuing to breathe. See if you can keep the neck long here. Keep the shoulders drawing down the back, away from the ears. And taking one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. On your next inhale, starting with the arms, we walk them gently back in toward the body, finding our tabletop pose with wrists under the shoulders and knees under the hips. And from here, we'll plant that right hand, spread the fingertips, inhale, rotate to the left, reach the left arm nice and tall toward the ceiling. And then thread the needle, reach the arm underneath. Settle the head for just a moment. Press down through the arm and to that right hand to spread the upper back, to twist, open to the right. And then on the next inhale, press down to come up, big reach again to the sky. Good. Exhale, bring the hand back down through center. We'll take the other side. Inhale, right arm up, big reach. And then exhale, thread it through. It won't be here for long, but let's open to the upper back while we're here, pressing down into the mat with the arms, with the hand, taking some of that pressure off of the head. One more breath. On the next inhale, press down. We reach up. Big reach, big twist, and then exhale. Right hand down, tabletop pose. Take a couple of cat-cows here. Inhale, drop the belly. Spread the chest, look forward. Exhale, round. Curl in, tucking the chin, spreading the shoulder blades apart. And go at the pace of your own breath. Inhale, arch. And exhale to round. And take a couple more like that. Inhale, arch the spine, look forward. Exhale, round, press the ground away, curl in. Last one here. Your inhale to arch. And your exhale to round. Back through center. We're gonna open up through the inner legs here a little bit before we get into some hip openers and other poses. So take your left leg and step it out to the left. This is something we do kind of often, at least in my class. And once you've got it out to the left, I want you to see if you can draw that left hip a little closer to the mat. So both hips feel nice and level. And as you draw the left hip just slightly closer to the mat, you might start to feel the inner left leg kind of light up and maybe even parts of the left glute as well for this little stretch. And then we're going to inhale here and we're going to lift the left arm up high to the sky. See if you can really rotate through the upper chest and keep the hips right where they are. And then as you exhale, we're going to thread, but we're not going to rest the arm on the ground. So we're just going to reach more rather than thread, really. Reaching to the right. And then we'll inhale, open it up, and we'll move through this, inhaling to reach and exhaling to also reach, to thread, to hover your thread over to the right. And do it again. Inhale, big reach up to the sky, and then exhale, reach it under. As you reach, really notice that stretch, whether you feel it, that stretch in the left leg. And one more here. Inhale, reach. And exhale to thread. Beautiful. Coming back through center, hands plant under the shoulders, then we'll walk that left leg in and take the right leg out to the right. And just pausing here for a second once you've found your footing and just drawing that right hip down a little bit so that if you were to place something on the lower back here on the sacrum, it would be nice and level. Drawing that right hip down, you might already feel a little bit of a stretch there in the right glute. All right, when you're ready, we'll inhale, right arm high, twisting open through the upper back. You might not twist as far as you expect when you are intentionally keeping the hips nice and level. Inhale, reach, and exhale, reach. Reach under. Inhale, reach up to the sky, and exhale. One more here, inhale, and exhale. Good. Back through center, table, top pose. And then when you're ready, we're just going to go ahead and step that right leg forward into a low lunge. And when you get here, find your footing. If you need to widen your stance a little bit left and right, go for it. Make your your stance broad enough so that you feel stable. And then we're gonna plant that left hand down underneath the shoulder. Take a big inhale and reach the right arm up. Simple twist, sinking that left hip forward and down, almost like you're trying to touch your left wrist with your left hip. Impossible, but that's the direction. Good. Take one more big breath in here. And as you exhale, we'll reach it down and we will hover thread, theme of the day, underneath our left, behind our left arm, rather. We'll take that a couple of times. Inhale, reach it tall, big reach, maybe reach even back a little bit here. And then exhale, thread it underneath and reach to the left. Last one, inhale and exhale. Good. Back through center. Frame that front foot with your hands. And then we'll start to walk the hands back, straightening that right leg and drawing the toes in toward the face here for your half split variation. If you have blocks or some kind of prop that you would like to use underneath the hands, you're more than welcome to do that here. If you bring fingertips to the ground and that just causes your chest to flow forward a little more, that's also totally fine. Wherever you are, big breath in, draw the toes in toward the face, and then draw the right hip slightly back so that it's level with the left hip. And as you do that, you may notice a little bit more stretch, a little bit more intensity in the stretch in the back of the leg. Take one more breath here. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, walk the hands back forward, low lunge. This time we're going to stand up on the legs and we're going to reach the arms out nice and wide to a T and then back behind you for a bind. Before you straighten the arms, bring your knuckles to the low back and then pull the elbows together. Really spread the chest. And then from there, if you like, you can start to straighten the arms, drawing the elbows together, pulling the elbows together. And if you're much more mobile than I am in your shoulders, which you probably are, you can start to lift the knuckles and the arms away from the back. Keeping a really nice broad chest here, looking forward. Maybe you start to lean back a little bit and look up. Nice chest opener. Sink the hips. Breathe in and breathe out. I'll fall over. Don't fall over this close to the ground. It's embarrassing. Just breathe in and breathe out. All right, slowly we'll start to release the arms if we've got them. And bring both hands this time on the inside of your right foot. And then we're going to start to walk the hands out to the left at like a 45-degree angle. So yeah, almost like following the left corner of your mat over to the left. And then we're going to drop the head as if we're in a downward facing dog from the hips up and a lunge from the hips down. And if that's confusing, you can take a look. But we're dropping the head between the arms. We're planting the palms nice and wide, spread fingertips. And pressing through the arms to get a nice deep hip stretch. Both hips. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. And on your next inhale, we'll walk the arms back in. From here, plant the hands, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. And we're going to straighten the right leg just enough for us to walk the hands over to the left side of the mat and then sink into that back leg for either a low side lunge, a side lunge with the palms to heart center, great place to be. Or if you'd like a skandasana, we lower the hips and we bring those right toes to face the sky. Good. If you are in your low lunge, your side lunge rather, I want you to draw the left knee back behind you like we do when we're in our squat. You're pulling the knee with the strength of the leg toward the wall behind you and you're pressing the palms. And if you're coming down into your Skandasana, you're welcome to do the exact same thing, pulling the knee back. Or, like our squat, you can bring the upper arm to the inside of the left leg and use that to press against it. Wherever you are, we'll take one more breath. Chest is nice and tall. Spine, back is long. Big breath in and out. Inhale. Arms or no arms, we press through the leg and we come back to frame our front foot. Lower the back knee and step your right leg back into your tabletop pose. And just take a moment here to shift the hips a little side to side. Maybe you sit back and then come forward, take a few little cat-cows, just moving through the hips, moving through the spine before we take the other side. All right, when you're ready, we'll step that left foot forward. And from here, we'll plant the right palm right under the shoulder and inhale, lift the left arm high. We'll hold here for a moment, sinking the hips. See if you can pull that left leg a little closer in toward the body, and then also we're drawing the chest a little closer to the leg as we reach. One more breath here. Take the inhale, and as we exhale, we'll thread that left hand behind the right arm over to the right and reach. We'll take a couple like that, flowing through. Inhale, reach. No hold this time. Exhale, reach under, reach and hover, and inhale, reach it up. Twist and exhale, reach to the right. Good. This time we'll just frame that left foot with the hands and we'll send the hips back, straighten the left leg, half split, walk the hands back a little bit. Here's where you can grab your blocks if you'd like to be a little bit more upright. Otherwise, we're folded slightly over that leg. We draw the toes into the chest and we draw that left hip a little bit back. Stretching into the back of that left leg. The more you flex the toes, the more stretch you'll get. It's kind of crazy. You'll see what I mean if you point the toes, the stretch of the back of the leg changes considerably. That's because you're stretching not just your muscles, but your nerves in this position, which is a good thing. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, we'll walk the hands back forward. Nice low lunge, nice stable low lunge. So we talked about making the feet wide enough, or the base wide enough so you don't topple left and right. Another thing I want you to think about here is making your stance wide enough the other way, so front and back, so that your hips have space to sink down. I'll show you just really quickly. If you have your left leg in really close and you're kind of coming up like this where you've got two 90-degree angles, even if I wanted to sink my hips, there really isn't anywhere for them to go. So make sure you've got enough space both directions, and then we will keep moving. Come on up, stand on the legs. Inhale, reach your arms out either side. Exhale, clasp the hands rather, behind the back. And then once you've clasped them, I'm going to have you unclasp them and clasp them the other way. So thumb, your normal thumb is underneath. Clasp the reverse way you normally do. If I explain that, I'm going to get confused. Inhale, draw the elbows together behind the back. And then exhale, we start to straighten the arms if you like. See if you can keep the palms touching or squeezing toward touching. And then from here, it's up to you and your shoulders, whether you lift the arms away from the back. Notice if it feels weird to clasp reverse way. Probably because you don't do it very often. Big breath in, nice broad chest, nice long neck. Pressing through the left foot into the mat. One more breath in. Exhale, release the arms. Bring the hands around to the front, and then we walk our hands out into that downward dog lunge. Hands out to the right. Drop the head. Top half of the body is in downward facing dog. Bottom half is in that low lunge. Breathe in and breathe out. On your next inhale, walk the hands in. Bring the hands to the inside of that left foot, and then we'll tuck the toes of the right leg, lift the knee, and walk the hands out to the long side of the mat on the right side. I'm going to turn around so that I'm still facing you. And then we sink into that right leg for a low lunge, side lunge, what I keep calling low lunge, a side lunge with hands at heart center, or a Skandasana if you'd like to sink the hips a little bit lower, and we lift the toes of the left foot. If you're in your low lunge, you can keep that left foot planted with the toes down on your mat. Couple things about the feet. If you're in your low lunge, I want you to pretend you have a blueberry in the arch of the foot. So you're kind of lifting the arch and pressing the rest of the foot down to protect your little blueberry. And you're breathing. And if you're in your Skandasana, I want you to press the heel of your right foot down into the mat and resist that urge maybe you have to kind of let the heel lift a little bit. We're stretching the ankle as well as the hip and other things. Wherever you are, one more breath. Inhale and exhale. And on your next inhale, hands can come down to help you if you like, or we press with the leg. And this time we'll stay with these two straight legs. Turn the toes in slightly, heels out slightly, and it's up to you how wide you want your stance to be here. And then from here, we'll just start to fold over the legs, Prasarita, wide-legged forward fold. Let the head hang. Hands can be between the feet. They can be in front of the feet. If you're confident in this pose and you would like, you can turn the hands around so that the fingertips face back behind you and walk the hands back kind of through the legs. Maybe the crown of the head searches for the floor, maybe not. Wherever you are, see if you can shift the weight just slightly more into the toes. And if you're someone who's very flexible and maybe even slightly hypermobile in poses like this where we've got straight legs, you might just give yourself a little micro bend of the knees. One more breath here, wherever you are, whatever your expression of the pose is looking like today. And then on the inhale, walk the hands forward so that the wrists are under the shoulders, and then walk the hands back around to frame your front foot. Bring your back knee down to the mat, and then we'll walk the left leg, I believe, back into a table top pose. Beautiful. And from here, I'm just going to go ahead and take a seat. Nothing fancy. Find your way to a seat. Turn to face you, and then we'll cross our legs and sit. Find your comfortable seat, and then when you're ready, we'll inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, twist open to the right. Let the left palm find the right knee, and right hand goes back behind you. And it's totally up to you how deeply you would like to twist. Once you're here, once your inhales to make your spine long. And if you've practiced with me before or for a while, you've heard me say this, your inhales and your twists make you long, you elongate your spine, and your exhales bring you deeper. And in this particular case, your spine extends all the way through the top of the head. Inhale long, exhale, twist. Maybe you close the eyes. Just feel what you feel. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll come back through center. If you'd like to take a little gentle counter twist to the left before we twist to the left, you're welcome to. Come back through center. Relax your arms. Take a breath. And we'll inhale. Reach the arms nice and tall. And exhale. Open to the left. Same here. Inhales to get long. And exhales to twist more deeply. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Finishing your exhale. On the next inhale, come back through center. Take a little gentle twist over to the right. Little counter twist. And then we'll come back through center. And we'll just finish with a gentle fold over the legs. And bring the hands out in front of you. And then we'll just round the spine here. Tuck the chin and fold over the legs. And see if you can let go of the picture in your mind of what this looks like. And instead focus on how it feels. Focus on the spine, the hips, the breath. On the next inhale, slowly roll up to a seat. Bring the hands to the legs and maybe shake out the shoulders a little bit, whatever feels good. And then you can close the eyes if you like. We'll close our little Monday morning yoga with a breath in and out all together. Inhale and exhale.